If you depend on Social Security and your deposit did not arrive when you expected it, this may not be a coincidence, and it may not be Social Security at all. Across the country, recipients are opening their banking apps, refreshing their screens, and asking the same uneasy question: why hasn't my money arrived? For years, these payments appeared with near-perfect consistency. Same day, same time, no surprises. That reliability created trust. But for some beneficiaries, that routine has recently been disrupted. There was no warning letter, no public announcement, just an empty balance where essential income was supposed to be. And when that happens, concern escalates quickly. Rent does not wait. Prescriptions cannot be postponed. Groceries are not optional. When a Social Security payment is even a few hours late, it does not feel like a minor technical issue. It feels like something is fundamentally wrong. What makes this especially unsettling is that, on the surface, nothing appears to have changed. The benefit amount looks the same. The official payment date has not moved, and yet the funds are missing. That disconnect is precisely why this moment matters. Behind the scenes, something has changed. Quietly. And most people will not hear about it until it directly affects their account. To be clear, this is not about Social Security running out of money. It is not about benefit cuts, eligibility changes, or canceled payments. What is happening involves new banking compliance rules that are now taking effect. These rules can alter when you gain access to your deposit, even if Social Security sends the payment exactly on time. Once you understand how this process works, much of the confusion and fear begins to make sense. Over the past several days, the same pattern has emerged in online discussions and local communities. One person reports a late payment. Another is told by their bank that the deposit is under review. Someone else hears a rumor that benefits are being reduced or redirected. None of those claims are accurate, but uncertainty spreads quickly when money people rely on suddenly feels unstable. The absence of a clear public explanation only deepens that uncertainty. No press conference, no mailed notice, silence, and silence invites fear. The reality is straightforward. Social Security did not suddenly change its rules. Your benefits were not quietly altered overnight. What changed is how banks are now required to handle incoming government payments. Even when Social Security sends funds exactly as scheduled, your bank now plays a larger role in determining when those funds become available to you. That distinction matters more than most people realize. Social Security payments do not move directly from the government into your bank account in a single step. What you see in your account is the final stage of a much longer process. First, the U.S. Treasury releases funds according to Social Security's payment schedule. That process remains unchanged. Those funds then move through the federal payment system, which routes millions of transactions to financial institutions nationwide. Only after your bank receives the deposit does the final decision occur, when the funds are released for use. And under new compliance standards, that final step now includes additional checkpoints. In the past, this step was largely invisible. Deposits were credited automatically and almost instantly. But increased regulatory pressure aimed at fraud prevention, reducing identity theft, account takeovers, and illegal benefit diversion has changed that. Banks are now required to apply additional verification measures to certain deposits. These checks are automated and data-driven. They do not assess intent or circumstances. They simply look for irregularities, and irregular can mean something as minor as updated contact information, a new linked account, or recent changes in account activity. When those systems detect something that does not perfectly align, the deposit does not vanish. It pauses. Social Security's records show the payment as sent and completed. From their perspective, everything is functioning normally. The bank, meanwhile, sees the funds as received but pending verification. Both statements can be true at the same time, and recipients are left caught between two systems that do not always communicate clearly with one another. This gap, between when funds are sent and when they become available, is where most of today's confusion originates. And when you are waiting on income that forms the foundation of your monthly budget, even a short delay can feel overwhelming. It is important to understand that a flagged or reviewed deposit is not a judgment about you. It is not an indication that your benefits are in danger. It is a procedural pause triggered by automated systems that analyze patterns, not people. Most of the time, these reviews are resolved quickly, often within hours or 1 to 2 business days, once verification is complete. Not everyone is affected equally. Many long-time Social Security retirement recipients with unchanged banking information may notice no difference at all. Others, particularly SSI, ssdi, or survivor benefit recipients, or individuals who have recently updated account details, are more likely to experience temporary holds. This does not reflect instability in those programs. It reflects how banking systems apply monitoring thresholds during periods of transition. The emotional strain often comes from conflicting answers. Social Security confirms the payment was sent. The bank says it is still processing. Neither is being dishonest. They are describing different stages of the same transaction. And during the waiting period, anxiety grows, especially when bills, late fees, and daily necessities do not pause alongside the deposit. Communication plays a critical role here. Some banks notify customers immediately through app alerts or emails. Others do not provide notice unless the customer asks. In some cases, recipients receive verification requests and do not realize those messages are directly tied to the delayed deposit. Ignoring or overlooking them can unintentionally extend the hold. Responding promptly often releases the funds quickly. If your payment does not arrive on schedule, the most effective next step is to contact your bank directly and ask whether the deposit is under review. Social Security can confirm that funds were sent, but the bank controls availability. Clear, specific questions usually lead to faster resolution. There are also steps you can take to reduce the likelihood of delays. Ensure your contact information is current. Pay attention to messages from your bank. Understand your institution's deposit timing policies, and when possible, build a small buffer to soften the impact of temporary timing issues during this transition period. Looking ahead, these compliance updates are still being fully implemented. That means experiences may feel uneven for a while. One person notices no change, another encounters a brief pause. Inconsistency does not signal danger, it signals adjustment. Social Security remains one of the most stable programs in the country. Benefits are not being reduced or phased out. Delays, when they occur, are procedural, not personal, and almost always temporary. The most important takeaway is this: a delayed deposit is not a lost benefit. It does not mean Social Security failed, and it does not mean your financial foundation has suddenly shifted without explanation. It means your payment is moving through a system that now includes more checkpoints than before. Those checkpoints may be inconvenient, but they are pauses, not roadblocks. When you understand how the system works, uncertainty loses much of its power. You are no longer left guessing or fearing the worst. You know what is happening, why it is happening, and how to respond. And that knowledge transforms anxiety into confidence. When it comes to Social Security, staying informed is not just reassuring, it is empowering.